So, welcome. I'd like to welcome you to our workshop on work disability prevention management systems. And this is a stakeholder workshop. And my name's Richard Wells, and I'm from the University of Waterloo and Center of Research Expertise for the Prevention of Musculoskeletal Disorders. And I'll get into that in a moment. So I'm looking forward to a great day. A lot of great people. I don't know many of you, but I know of you from reports of my colleagues. And I hope that we can take, if not huge steps, small steps towards improving our management of work disability with its huge personal and social and organizational costs. I've got just a few introductory remarks, and I have few written here, so start stomping or clapping if they exceed that limit. So, CRE-MSD, Center of Research Expertise for the Prevention of Musculoskeletal Disorders, is proud to be a sponsor for this meeting. I'm director of that small network of researchers, and our mandate is prevention of musculoskeletal disorders. And our tagline is research meeting practice to prevent MSDs. We're funded by the Ministry of Labour and used to be funded by WSIB. And the reason that I'm here and happy to be a sponsor is that we recognize the importance of linking primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention in preventing work disability. And as musculoskeletal disorders are a large component in that, I think it's very appropriate to be part of this meeting and sponsor it. Even though our prime focus is on primary prevention, we're never going to be perfect, and so we have to look after those cases of disability that come through our prevention net, let's call it. So that's all I want to say about that. We're kind of the least important part of this meeting. The second piece or issue I want to just touch on is workplace disability prevention, or work disability prevention. I'm not going to say much for fear of embarrassing myself in this audience. What little I do know came from some involvement with Patrick Loisel in the training program, the CIHR training program. So I said I wasn't going to say much on that topic. The third thing just to touch on is the issue of management systems. Now, I didn't know a management system from a hole in the ground about 5 years ago. But until then, I was struggling with the fact that we had lots of good knowledge in prevention of MSDs, but it just wasn't going anywhere. And so I became aware, and I won't say a fan, because I don't know enough to be a complete fan, of management systems as a way of getting things done within organizations. And so one of my research interests is how to link prevention of MSDs into companies' occupational health and safety management systems. And so I see them as frameworks within organizations. And I became aware of OHSAS, Occupational Health and Safety Assessment Series. And I'm just going to read just a tiny bit from that. So, OHSAS has been developed in response to customer demand for a recognizable occupational health and safety management system against which their management systems could be assessed and certified. And what I see in that is that it's a pull. It's not something exposed from outside. And we're going to hear a lot more about that from CSA and Ron in a couple of minutes. But I see it again as a way of getting things done and aligned with other business processes, environment, health and safety, quality, as a way of getting it into the mainstream within an organization. The last point is CSA. And again, I'm not going to say very much because we have lots of people who know much more about it. But I see CSA in this context, in this meeting, in this process, as being a facilitator to move ahead and to link all of the things that you know about work disability prevention with organizational directions, procedures, policies, so that we can, in fact, move ahead and reduce the personal, societal, and organizational costs of work disability. So with that very brief overview of what I see as the day, I'd like to introduce Ron Myers, who's going to welcome you on behalf of CSA.
Thank you very much, Richard, and thank you for everyone to be here on a Friday, downtown Toronto. And I know for some of you may not, the trip downtown is not an easy task. I know for myself as well. But thank you very much for your time and your support to really help us decide on our direction, our path forward for developing a national guidance or national standard on this very, very important topic. So you guys are the experts around the table. So today is really all about getting your feedback, getting your thoughts, getting your recommendations. Is there a need for a national standard? Is a management system approach the way to go? And I'm going to talk a little bit about CSA a little bit later in my presentation. I noticed some of you are certainly members of CSA and have participated on technical committees, and perhaps some of you are not really aware too much of CSA or how we work in terms of standards development. So I'll cover some of that, and particularly our work in developing management system standards in the occupational health and safety area. So I'll talk a little bit about that shortly, but I don't want to take up too much time. The first agenda here is to get to know everybody around the tables and who you are. So I'm going to start off with myself as an introduction. I'm Ron Myers, CSA Group. I'm a project manager. Some of my areas of responsibility includes developing national standards in areas of emergency management, protective equipment and systems for first responders. I do transportation of dangerous goods. I did do the Z1004, worked with a number of people around the table here, Larry and Mary Lou, and on Z1004 ergonomic standard. So I have a great job because I get to work with experts like yourself in important topics to develop national documents. So I love my job, and I'm really happy that we can assemble such a great group of people today.